One MH-60 Sierra Seahawk, 6 cartel boats, $40 million in cocaine heading north. What happens next changes the entire Caribbean drug war forever. November 12, 2025, Eastern Caribbean Sea, 87 miles off the Venezuelan coast. The sun hasn't broken the horizon yet. Water temperature sits at 79 degrees. Wind speed holds steady at 12 knots. Perfect conditions for what the cartels call a turbo run. High speed, low profile, maximum payload. The lead boat cuts through pre-dawn darkness at 45 knots. Venezuelan cartel operators, not amateurs, former military. Each vessel carries 1,500 pounds of pure cocaine. Street value exceeds $40 million. 6 boats total, 9,000 pounds of product. The largest single shipment attempted in 14 months. They believe they're invisible. Radar signature minimized. Running dark. No lights. No radio chatter. GPS jammers active. Route carefully planned to avoid known patrol zones. Intelligence suggests clear passage. Money already exchanged hands. Routes purchased. Officials bribed. But what they didn't know was that U.S. Southern Command had been tracking this operation for 6 weeks. At exactly 4:47 a.m., an MH-60 Sierra Seahawk lifts off from USS Paul Hamilton. The destroyer positioned 120 miles northeast, part of Joint Interagency Task Force South. The helicopter carries a crew of 4, 2 pilots, 1 tactical systems operator, 1 rescue swimmer/door gunner, armed with 2 M240 machine guns, 7.62 mm, rate of fire 950 rounds per minute, but the real weapon sits in the tactical systems bay. Advanced maritime surveillance package, thermal imaging, enhanced radar, real-time satellite uplink. The Seahawk climbs to 500 feet, speed builds to 140 knots, flight time to target zone 14 minutes. The tactical officer monitors 6 distinct radar signatures, formation tight, professional. These aren't random smugglers. This is military precision. What's your weapon of choice in a maritime interdiction? Type A for overwhelming firepower. Type B for surgical precision strikes. The cartel boats maintain their course. Confidence high. They've run this route 17 times, never been intercepted. Speed and darkness their allies. The lead navigator checks his watch. 5:03 a.m. Another 90 minutes to the handoff point. Colombian fast boats waiting. Transfer complete. Money secured. The formation breaks slightly. Standard evasion pattern. Makes targeting harder. Spreads defensive capability. Each boat now separated by 200 yards. Still close enough for mutual support. Far enough to complicate enemy engagement. The Seahawk drops to 300 feet, running lights off. Thermal imaging shows 6 bright signatures against cold ocean. Heat from engines unmistakable. The pilot keys his radio. Code word Delta 7. USS Paul Hamilton acknowledges. 2 more helicopters launch. MH-65 Dolphins from Coast Guard Cutter Stone. 15 minutes out. The net tightens. At 5:11 a.m., the Seahawk breaks radio silence. Spanish language announcement. International waters. U.S. Navy. Stop your vessels immediately. Prepare for boarding. The response comes fast. The lead boat guns its engines. 45 knots becomes 55, then 60. Modified engines. Racing fuel. These boats hit speeds conventional patrol craft can't match. The other 5 boats scatter. Defensive dispersal. Classic cartel tactic. Force the enemy to choose targets. Divide attention. Create escape opportunities. The ocean erupts into chaos. The Seahawk pilot makes his decision. Target the leader. Cut the head off the serpent. The helicopter banks hard right. Nose drops. Speed increases to 155 knots. The M240 gunner chambers around. Tracers loaded every fifth bullet. 600 rounds ready. But the rules of engagement are crystal clear. Disable. Don't destroy. These aren't enemy combatants. They're criminals. International maritime law applies. The lead boat zigzags, trying to complicate the shot. Wake creates massive spray. Visibility drops. The boat's crew knows helicopters can't sustain this chase forever. Fuel burns fast at max speed. They just need to outlast, outrun, survive until the Seahawk breaks off. The tactical officer acquires targeting solution. Fires warning burst. 50 rounds into the water. 30 yards ahead of the speeding boat. Tracers light up the darkness like orange lightning. The message clear: stop or face direct fire. The boat doesn't slow. Instead, return fire erupts. AK-47 muzzle flashes visible from the deck. Rounds snap past the helicopter. One punches through the tail boom. Clean through. No critical damage. But the rules just changed. They fired first. Engagement authorization granted. The M240 gunner doesn't hesitate. Controlled bursts, aimed at the engines, not the crew. 150 rounds in 6 seconds. Tracers walk across the stern. Engines explode, not from the bullets, from the racing fuel. The boat becomes an inferno. Orange flames climb 40 feet. Black smoke billows. The vessel slews sideways. Dead in the water. Crew abandons ship. 8 men hit the ocean. Life vests deployed. Swimming away from the blazing wreck. If you're enjoying this deep dive into modern maritime operations, take a moment to hit that subscribe button. But here's where everything changes. The explosion wasn't just fuel. Those engines were mounted directly above the cargo hold. 1,500 pounds of cocaine in waterproof packages. The heat hits critical temperature. Packages rupture. Cocaine ignites. Not like in movies. No massive fireball, but hot enough to compromise structural integrity. The boat breaks in half. Stern section sinks in 90 seconds. Bow stays afloat. Barely. The 5 remaining boats see their leader go down. 2 immediately surrender. Engines cut, hands raised, international signal for yielding. They know the math. Can't outrun helicopters. Can't outfight military hardware. Better to surrender than burn. But 3 boats gun their engines. Different calculations, different risk tolerance. They split directions. North, northeast, east. Force multiple pursuits. The Seahawk can only chase one. The pilot selects the eastern runner, fastest boat, likely the second in command. The helicopter banks hard. G-forces press the crew into their seats. The target boat hits 62 knots. Impressive. But physics works against them. Fuel consumption skyrockets. Range decreases. They're burning reserves that should get them to safety. At 5:19 a.m., the 2 MH-65 Dolphins arrive. Coast Guard crews. Experienced. Aggressive. One takes the northern runner. One takes northeast. The 3-boat chase becomes 3 separate pursuits. The ocean transforms into a battlefield. Rotor wash creates massive water disturbance. Radio chatter intense. Coordinates shared. Tactics coordinated. The northern runner makes a critical mistake. Turns back toward the debris field. Maybe trying to rescue crew. Maybe disoriented. Doesn't matter. The MH-65 cuts him off. Warning shots. M240 tracers. The boat captain sees the writing. Engines stop. Surrender. The northeast runner proves more stubborn. Former Venezuelan Navy. You can tell by the tactics. Serpentine patterns. Speed variations. Using wave patterns for concealment. The Coast Guard helicopter matches every move. Stays 200 yards back. Doesn't push too hard. Doesn't need to. The boat's burning fuel at catastrophic rates. Math says they'll run dry in 20 minutes. What would you have done commanding that cartel boat? Comment your answer below. The eastern runner that the Navy Seahawk pursues enters rougher seas. 3-foot swells, wind picking up, dawn breaking, visibility improving, bad for the runners, good for pursuit. The boat pounds through waves, each impact loses speed, fuel consumption increases. The crew knows they're finished, but pride, desperation, fear of cartel retribution, they keep running. At 5:34 a.m., their engines cough, sputter, the boat slows. Not surrender, fuel starvation. They pushed too hard, burned too fast. The reserves hit empty. The vessel drifts, dead weight. The Seahawk circles, waiting. The crew emerges, hands raised. Game over. The northeast runner hits fuel exhaustion at 5:41 a.m. Different boat, same physics, same outcome. 7 minutes of frantic swimming as the MH-65 hovers overhead. Coast Guard rescue swimmer deploys. Professional, efficient, all cartel operatives secured. Nobody drowns on his watch. USS Paul Hamilton arrives on scene at 6:15 a.m. Coast Guard cutter Stone 20 minutes behind. The cleanup begins. 5 boats captured, 1 destroyed. Total crew count 47. All alive, all in custody. The 2 surrendered boats contain their full cargo, 3,000 pounds. The 3 runners dumped theirs during the chase. Another 3,000 pounds sinking to the ocean floor. The destroyed boat's cargo burned or sank. 1,500 pounds lost. But here's the intelligence goldmine. The captured crews don't stay silent. Maritime law provides incentives for cooperation, reduced sentences, protection programs. Within 6 hours, they're talking. Routes, contacts, financial networks, distribution chains, names. The kind of intelligence that dismantles entire organizations. The lead boat commander reveals the operation took 8 months to plan, cost $2 million to set up, bribed officials across 3 countries, established safe houses, secured transport, everything perfect, until one MH-60 Seahawk appeared at exactly the wrong moment. Support this kind of detailed tactical breakdown by giving this video a thumbs up if you found it valuable. The aftermath ripples across the Caribbean. Cartel leadership furious. 2 million invested. 0 return. 40 million in product lost. 47 operators captured. Their entire maritime network exposed. Smuggling routes compromised. Future operations indefinitely suspended. U.S. Southern Command releases limited details. Successful interdiction. International cooperation, no injuries, standard press release language. But behind classified doors, this operation represents something bigger. A shift in tactics, real-time intelligence, rapid response, multi-platform coordination. The cartels adapted their methods. Now, the U.S. adapted faster. The intelligence harvest yields immediate results. Within 72 hours, coordinated raids hit 6 locations: Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, Coast Guard and DEA teams, 17 arrests, 3 processing facilities shut down, financial records seized. The network that took years to build crumbles in days. But the tactical lessons matter more than the seizures. The cartel boats were faster than patrol ships, but speed means nothing against helicopters. Their GPS jammers worked against Coast Guard radar, but thermal imaging sees heat. Darkness provided concealment, until it didn't. Every advantage they built, countered, defeated, rendered obsolete. The destroyed boat raises environmental concerns. 150 pounds of cocaine burning creates toxic smoke, fuel spills, debris field. The Coast Guard deploys containment measures, booms, absorbent materials, environmental assessment teams. The ocean's surprisingly resilient. 3 weeks later, no trace remains except data in incident reports. Don't miss what comes next in modern drug interdiction. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an analysis like this. The captured crews face federal charges, maritime drug trafficking, international waters. U.S. jurisdiction applies. Minimum sentences start at 10 years. Maximum hits life. Their cooperation reduces time. Some walk in 7. Others never see freedom again. The cartel considers them dead either way. You don't lose $40 million and get welcomed home. The Venezuelan government issues protests, sovereign waters, illegal interdiction, international incident, standard diplomatic theater. Everyone knows the truth. Those boats launched from Venezuelan territory. But the government lacks power to stop them. Corruption runs too deep. Official complaints mean nothing. The cartels own too many officials. The MH-60 Seahawk that started everything? Bullet hole in the tail boom patched within 48 hours. Crew debriefed. Tactics analyzed. Procedures refined. Awards recommended. The pilot gets a Navy Commendation Medal. The gunner gets an Air Medal. Recognition for professional execution under fire. By the book. Legal. Effective. 3 months later, cartel maritime operations in that sector drop 73%. Too risky. Too exposed. They shift to other routes, other methods, submarines, semi-submersibles, hidden compartments on commercial vessels. The adaptation never stops, but neither does the response. The tactical systems officer from that Seahawk now teaches at the Naval Aviation School's command. His lecture includes this mission. Case study in modern maritime interdiction. How 1 helicopter, 4 crew members, professional execution, dismantled an organization that took years to build. This kind of detailed operational research takes hours to produce. Subscribe to help us keep making them. The $40 million in cocaine that burned or sank. Insurance for the cartels doesn't exist. That's pure loss. Absorbed by the organization. Somebody pays, usually with blood. The cartel structure shifts. Power vacuums emerge. Rivals sense weakness. Internal violence spikes. One interdiction creates cascading effects that intelligence agencies track for months. The lesson echoes across every cartel briefing room from Caracas to Medellin. The ocean isn't safe. Speed isn't enough. Technology defeats traditional advantages. The U.S. doesn't need to catch every shipment, just enough to make the economics unsustainable. Risk versus reward. When reward drops and risk skyrockets, the business model collapses. Was this operation a devastating blow to cartel operations, or just a temporary setback? Leave your thoughts in the comments. The Caribbean drug war continues. New boats, new routes, new tactics. But this mission proved something critical. Maritime supremacy isn't about having more boats. It's about having better intelligence, faster response, superior technology, coordinated operations. The cartels can build faster boats. They can't build helicopters that match military capability. 1 MH-60 Sierra Seahawk. 6 cartel boats. $40 million in cocaine. 4 crew members who executed their mission with precision. 0 friendly casualties. 47 arrests. An entire network exposed. That's not luck. That's training, technology, determination. The message to every cartel operator running drugs across Caribbean waters remains crystal clear. The ocean's big, but the net's getting tighter. The technology's getting better. The response time's getting faster. You might outrun a patrol boat. You won't outrun a Seahawk. You might avoid radar. You won't avoid thermal imaging. You might think you're invisible. You're not. Freedom isn't free. Neither is the fight against those who profit from addiction and misery. Every interdiction, every arrest, every kilogram seized, small victories in an ongoing war. But victories matter. They add up. They create pressure. They force adaptation. They save lives downstream. If you made it this far, you're the core of our community. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. What other maritime operations should we cover? Which cartel tactics surprise you most? How would you improve interdiction operations? Your engagement directly shapes what we analyze next. Drop your comments. Share your thoughts. Let's discuss modern warfare where ocean meets sky and justice meets crime. This is Navy Force USA, where we break down the tactical realities of modern conflict, where numbers tell stories and operations reveal truths. Subscribe, stay informed, stay engaged. The next analysis drops soon. You won't want to miss it.